go ahead and turn everything over to Marcos for our presentation of the day. Once again, if you want to adjust the speaker and the share part of the presentation, to the left bottom of your screen, you should see a slider which you can adjust one way or the other to have a better idea, who's speaking, and if you want to see the speaker, you have that option. So at this time, any questions you have, you can either put them in the chat, or you could chime in if you see there's a good opportunity to do so. All right, so at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our speaker for today.
All right. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. I am Marcos Bernal. I am a liaison representative for Pennsylvania 811. At Pennsylvania 811, our purpose is to prevent damage to underground facilities. To promote safety, we provide an efficient and effective communications network among project owners, designers, excavators, and facility owners. Like I said, my name is Marcos Bernal. I'm a Southwest liaison, senior liaison for Pennsylvania 811. Our main office here is in West Mifflin. In the whole state of Pennsylvania, we have one office. It's there in West Mifflin, PA. So nearby, hopefully, a lot of everybody here. We do have 11 liaisons around the state. So if you're ever working around the entire state of Pennsylvania, we have myself, Allison's in the area as well. We share the West Mifflin office, and everybody else around the state there can help you as well if you ever need any questions if you're working outside of the Western PA area. What I want to do to start this morning is kind of give just a one-call overview quickly here, and then I want to jump into what we call our Coordinate PA application. I really think it's an application, if you haven't seen it yet, that maybe help you plan and execute jobs correctly under the Act 287 and safely, so you don't damage any facilities or anything like that. So what Pennsylvania One Call is, Pennsylvania 811 provides a service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year for over 3,600 underground facility owner members and 100,000 or more excavators every year. Members of the public utility, agency, and rural electric cooperative, anybody who owns or operates a line in Pennsylvania must be a member. I mentioned 3,600 members in Pennsylvania. That is the most in the world. Pennsylvania has the most members in the world that receive notifications for your one calls. So those of you who are placing one calls, digging in any areas at your home, a lot of home projects are happening right now. We're getting a lot of homeowner calls and stuff like that, which is great. If you're putting a fence in, upgrading the lawn, things like that, please, putting your deck on, putting the deck around the pool, putting your pool in because all the pools are closed, please make sure they're calling 811 before they start. But the members, those who receive the notifications, like I said, we have the most in the world in Pennsylvania here with 3,600 plus members who receive notifications. So that being said, you're relatively safe. Everybody should be receiving a notification in your area when you do place it. So you shouldn't be missing any facilities or anything like that when you're actually placing a one call. When should you participate? Well, when you use powered equipment. Any explosive, any powered equipment in the movement of work, earth, rock, or other material by an excavator, they must call the one call system. I mentioned homeowners, I mentioned contractors and excavators. Homeowners, for you, the call is free. Whoever is doing the work should place the call, however. So if you have a contractor doing the work, they should place the one call. It's a $125 fee for the year, for unlimited calls for the year. I like to go over that quickly so everybody knows, it's free for the homeowner, but the contractor should call if they're doing the work, and it's $125 for their first call of the year. They get unlimited calls for the rest of the year. So it's just the one-time fee there for the year. Most of them do know that, and they get a bill after they call for the first time. Excavators, you are obligated to notify 3 to 10 business days before digging. A business day means any day except Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday prescribed by statute. Here's the communications network. We're going to start with the excavator notifies with excavation information to the one call system. The one call system then notifies the underground facility members in the area, and the underground facility owner members mark the facilities, indicate clear marked. So when the person places the call, Pennsylvania One Call collects the data, where they're working, all the information, sends it to anybody that has facilities in that area. That person or entity goes out and locates the actual lines that they own or operate. They'll either respond to that ticket, whether they've marked it, facilities field marked, or clear. They have nothing in the area where you're working. So you're looking for a field marked or a clear. If you see field marked, you obviously should see painter flags at the at the work site. The excavator then receives another notification on the morning of the excavation with that list of responses. So on the morning of the on the morning of the start date, they're going to get a list of responses in an email or fax saying, hey, here's who responded. Here's what they responded. So you're going to see a list and say field marked. Okay, if the gas marked, then you should see yellow markings out where you're working at your work site. Excavators, to help the facility owner find where you're working, you should use the color white to mark the proposed excavation site if exact site information cannot be provided on the ticket. So I recommend everybody using the color white to mark their work site. Why? Well, in 2019, we took 1 million tickets in Pennsylvania for the first time in our history of the one-call system. We took 1 million dig notifications, dig requests in Pennsylvania. That's a lot of tickets. A lot of tickets. I was just speaking with a water company in our area in Western PA here that have their locators doing 70 tickets a day. So it's a lot easier if that locator can get to your work site, see the white markings, and say, hey, I'm in here, or hey, I'm not. So if you're an excavator, if you don't take anything away from this presentation here, and you're doing work, or you hire somebody to do work, or you're somebody who's doing work in a right of way or something, hey, mark it in white painter flags so they can actually go ahead and find your site efficiently and quickly. Once they do find your work site, they must mark, stake, or locate the position of the underground lines within 18 inches horizontally from the outside wall of that facility. What that area we call it is the tolerance zone. So the tolerance zone is 18 inches on either side of the facility. That you should not use power equipment until you locate those facilities and understand where they're at. So basically, that's the overview. We take the information, we gather the information on your work site. Hopefully you mark it in white, show the locators here, here's where we're working, and we do that in 3 days. Locators come out within those 3 days, they mark the site, and in 3 days you can start the work. Okay, that's the basic one-call idea. Now I'm going to jump into, well, what can we do to better plan? And the reason for that, let's see, let me go to this here real quick. And I'm going to show you what we call our Coordinate PA system. So I'm going to jump to this here. A few years back, we identified a problem, an issue in the one-call system. We took, like I said, we're starting to rise towards 1 million tickets, 800,000, 900,000. Now we hit 1 million last year in the last few years. Okay, this year due to COVID, we're down about 4.5% on tickets. So we're still seeing a lot of tickets come through, even with COVID and the pandemic going through. So jobs are still happening, construction is still happening, things like that are still going on, and we still want everybody to be safe and call in your projects, especially homeowners that are doing home projects as well. I know I touched on that before, but I'm kind of driving that home to everybody now lately in the situation. But that being said, we identified an issue, and the issue was within 1 million tickets. I always ask this question. I know I won't get any feedback right now. Everybody's on mute, but what's the percentage of design tickets that were placed on that 1 million ticket mark? Well, the answer is 4%. Okay, 4%. That is not enough. That tells us and the PUC, who, by the way, enforces our law, Act 287 as amended, the PUC enforces that law. It tells us and the PUC that, hey, not enough people are planning their jobs. All they're doing is going out, doing a 3-day ticket saying, come out and mark it, and we're going to go ahead and dig it up. If you design a job 10 to 90 days before you start working, we found that design notifications result in less damages. So more designs, less damages. 4% of the designs in 1 million tickets is not a lot. Thinking around 20% would be nice if you're talking about planning jobs and things like that. So what does that say? What does that give us? Well, people were telling us, we don't have the money to design. We don't have the resources to design. When we do place a design, we're not getting the correct responses back. Or, hey, the big glaring issue, a municipality, a township, a borough, something like that in your area, your home where you live, put the budget together for the next year to repave your roadway. And how many of us have a roadway repaved, and 3 months later, a facility company comes in and tears up that roadway and replaces the gas or the electric or the water or the sewer? So you just repaved the roadway. They weren't planning correctly. It wasn't shared with anybody. Now you've repaved, wasted all that money because somebody came in after that and replaced the main right after that. We're seeing that too much. We're seeing the communication wasn't there, so we decided to create what we call Coordinate PA. It's a web-based repository, map-based. It enables user to add or import existing projects, to find opportunities with others who want to coordinate, to share project documents and communications with designated contacts, and notify facility owners and other contacts of any stage of the project. So wanted to go over some benefits, and I'm going to actually show you the actual application itself too. You can define projects with the tool inside a web browser. There's no special software needed. This isn't a download. This isn't something like that. You just go on our website and get access to it if you have a web account. You document project records. It's a secure repository, provides visual collaboration on your projects using visual maps and other tools. You can gather information from a broader range of stakeholders, add or manage and set permissions for project contacts, share and communicate with other CPA users or Coordinate PA users, and facility owners receiving project tickets. You can identify collaboration opportunities, coordinate and collaborate projects outside of the scope of your responsibility, save money for all parties. Did I mention this is free? This isn't something I'm selling you. This isn't something I'm going to get a bonus for if you start using it or anything like that. This is a service for you to use if you're excavating, you're digging, you have a project you're planning, something like that. Somebody's in your right of way, something like that. You know, these things alert you if you're receiving tickets, entering tickets, and planning for a better, safer project down the road. So this is a free service. It saves money for all parties because those of you who are planning, we had a job in a borough in our area who actually did use this, had enough money saved and planned for a roadway repavement job. The gas company in their borough saw the job, realized they were going to be replacing the mains in that area as well a few months later. So they coordinated with the efforts with them, decided to share the cost to restoration for their project, and the borough itself was able to double the output of the actual roadways that were paved. So, their constituents in that area were very, very pleased because they had 50%, and they went to 100% of the roadways they were able to pave because the gas company in that area was able to share costs with them for their pavement that they were going to do anyways to restore it. So these are the things that can benefit us as we go and use Coordinate PA for this. You can do complex projects as well. In Pennsylvania, one call, the 3-day notice we talked about is a routine notice. It's a routine 3-day notice. It's 1,000 feet or intersection to intersection, whichever is greater, can be on one ticket. So one block, 1,000 feet, intersection to intersection can be on one ticket. In Coordinate PA, we allow for complex projects. We allow for larger projects. We allow for meetings on the site. We allow for phases, large pipeline projects. We had a pipeline project in Philadelphia where they used this process as well, and they had 120 tickets they were placing routinely all the way through. Because they used Coordinate PA in complex projects, they reduced it to 11 tickets. 11 tickets for the meeting. They had a meeting and said we can do 11 tickets instead of 120, and bothering you with 120 tickets for a locator. So it reduced their headaches with entering so many tickets. It reduced their meetings, and everybody was on board with the project. So it was really a really effective use of the tool. The projects update in near real time. There's a common map base. We do have reporting. You can track activity. You can customize and save your own reports and things like that. There are standard reports as well that we offer you as well. So how to use it? Well, let's see here. Let me go ahead and exit this, and I'm going to show you actually live how we can use this. I believe you should be able to see my screen still with the map on it. I have actually preloaded Coordinate PA for us for this presentation. Wanted to show you kind of the tools, how to use it. I really want you, if you're in the one call world, to really jump into this. One prerequisite for Coordinate PA to enter tickets through Coordinate PA and enter information, you should have and need to have web ticket entry. Web ticket entry is our basic entry tool for entering tickets. To get access to that, you simply take a half an hour training course. It's under your web account. If you create one already, you already get access to the training course. Enter the training course information or do the training course, pass the training, and the next business day you get access to web ticket entry. You then be able to enter tickets through Coordinate PA as well. So we want to get you the basic gist of entering basic tickets before you jump into an elaborate application such as Coordinate PA. Once you do that, you enter Coordinate PA, you go into the Coordinate PA application, and you see the map come up.
Real quick, we've just got a gray screen.
Oh, we got a gray screen?
Let's see.
Let me go ahead and try this. I'm going to stop showing real quick.
If it makes any difference, I can see him just fine still.
Okay.
Nothing changed on my end.
Okay, it might just be me then.
How about now? Do you still see that? I just reshared it.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
it now.
no.
I think we're good now. Thank you.
Okay. If you can't see it, what I'm looking at right now is the map view of Pennsylvania. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here. I'm using my mouse wheel to zoom out. And when you first load the actual application itself, it's going to look something like this. It's going to show you the whole state of Pennsylvania. Okay. I preloaded it already and had it zoom in, but you're going to see something like this. Let's go to Allegheny County. And let's say I'm just going to pick Bethel Park. That's actually where I am right now. So I zoom to Bethel Park Borough, and let's click search as I move the map. Oh, we see a lot of projects around this area. So if I just pull the map up a little bit, I can see some projects. Here's the black color is Public Works. The colors on the screen go by the color code. So it goes gas, electric. Gas is yellow, electric's red. Cable TV, orange, telephones orange, water's blue, green sewer, things like that. So it goes by the APWA CGA standard color code on the map. So you know this is a sewer project. You know this is an electric project to your right. You know a public works project is black. We didn't have another color to use for public works or paving or something like that. So we chose black on that screen. And the left side of the screen, we're looking at a yellow gas line project as well. Now this is a test site, so you're going to see some test words and verbiage and things like that I'm using to show you the application. But you're looking right at this. If you can see the map, if you do see the screen here, there's a project here in Collier and Oakdale Borough that actually overlap. That's what we're looking for. So when a company goes in and says, hey, I'm going to map out, I'm going to do this whole area here for a pavement project, well, this company is actually doing a sewer project in the same area up here. This is where the coordination effort starts. Hey, I know there's something happening. No matter what the time is, or hey, maybe I'm doing it next year or the year after, I know somebody's going to come in here at a certain point and go ahead and rip up the street that I just repaved. Or vice versa. Am I going to be going there after the sewer project is done? Can we maybe reshare costs that they were going to use to repave the roadway anyway? Hey, we're going to do this. Maybe we can share some costs this way. Okay. And I'm going to show you a little how it kind of benefits one call at the same time when you're doing this. So I'm going to turn off search as I move the map so it helps load a little faster. Zoom in, zoom out, pretty basic tools there. One of the things that I did have set is you can see Pittsburgh up here. If I wanted to set that as my extent, I will use the current extent and update extent there. So what it's doing is it's saving my view. So for the next time I come into the application, or if I hit the home button here on the top left, I'll go back to this actual view. It'll center my screen to Pittsburgh. So if I'm only working in Pittsburgh, or myself, I work mainly in Western PA, I preload this to set in Western PA and I go to the home. It always loads Western PA. For those of you who work in the entire state or something like that, you can actually load the whole state. Whatever you prefer is what you can set in this corner here. The bottom, you'll see the projects in the map view that are listed. You'll see the list of the projects underneath there in the bottom. You can import files in the top right here, and you can use, you'll see the red lines here is moratorium data actually that the city of Pittsburgh has offered us. You can see the moratorium streets in Pittsburgh. Those were updated in January of 2020. So those are pretty recent. You can see moratorium streets there. You can take them on or off. You can use base maps, different base maps. I use the POX or Pennsylvania One Call System base layer, but you can use OpenStreetMaps, you can use Open Topography Maps, Esri imagery, whatever you prefer as your map base, you can use that. I prefer Pennsylvania One Call System. I'm used to that one, but you can use any base map that you'd like. You can search for projects in the search tool, and I also mentioned you can run reports as well. Run a standard or custom report in the reports tool. So if you're running a lot of projects, if you have projects in your area, you can pull projects in and out of Coordinate PA that way as well. So without going any further with the tools and the screen, I really do want to show you how easy it is to add a project. So I'm going to click Add a Project in the top right of the screen. I'm going to start with the design project. You should start, remember I said the 4% of tickets out of a million, that is too low. We want to start designing. We want to start planning our projects ahead of time. This tool is helping us do that. So I want to create a project in the design world. It automatically populated Bethel Park because I chose that before. I am going to start drawing, and I'm actually going to zoom in here to see a street. Let's see if I can get, let's try Logan Road. Here I'm looking at Logan Road. So let's say I'm doing a project all along Logan Road all the way up Logan Road. So I clicked Start Drawing, and I'm just clicking my mouse, clicking and dragging along Logan Road. And on the last click, I'll just double click there, and I finish the map. Those of you who already have used web ticket entry or already entered tickets through our call center may notice something right there, what I just did. Our basic mapping system only allows 6 points when you're designing a project, when you're entering a ticket. The Coordinate PA allows unlimited points when you're entering a map, so you can get really detailed. Let's say I messed this up. I'll edit the boundary, I'll click on it, and I'll squeeze it in here. Okay, and then I'll save the boundary changes. So you're really editing as you go. It's not something that's set in stone. This is me saying I plan on doing a project on Logan Road. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the project name, and I'm going to go to, test, PITROW, project name, or project status is planning, because we're planning this project. Let's say it's a paving project. Facility type is, for paving, we use Public Works. Let's see here, Public Works, because it'll be black on the screen. Preliminary design is anything from 90 days on if you're planning. A final design is required and what you should be using. You can use preliminary. It's there for you to plan early. But if we do want to see a final design, anything from 10 to 90 days from when you start the work there. So I'm going to say, we're going to plan on we're going to design this for August 1st through the 30th or the 25th, let's say. The planned construction dates, we're going to plan that after the design goes through. Let's start construction on September 1st, and it's going to take 30 days to do the project. What's the bid date? Bid date for the project as a designer or a planner says, I'm going to put this out for bid also on August 1st, and that's the start of it. That's the planning start. The dates, they're up to you. I can go out 10 years if I wanted to. There's not a restriction there. You can put a lot of municipalities are starting to put their entire pavement plan in there as well. So you can, for the next 5 years, so they can plan and say, hey, we're going to do this. This is an announcement we're making. Hey, gas, electric, water, sewer companies, if you're going to do something in this area, we're telling you we're going to repave these streets. One thing is very important, this button right here. Again, for those of you who can't see this, if you can't, it's Make Project Public. What that means is you're actually making it public for those who have access to Coordinate PA to see the project. So if this is not checked, the only people that can see it before it's checked is the people inside your company. So you can save it and it's an internal document until you actually release it to the public. Pretty cool tool. A lot of people use that to keep it saved until they're ready to release. The only other option is to have somebody view it outside your company. If you don't make it public, is to create them as a contact or add them as a contact here in the contact list. Okay, you can add anybody you want in the contact list to have access to this. Anybody that has an account with Pennsylvania One Call System should be pre-populated in this list, so you can actually add them as you go, and they should all have access to that, whatever level you want to add them to. So that's the basic of it. You're entering the map. You're saying, hey, here is the project information, the dates, the basic dates. I'm going to make it public because I want everybody to see it. I'm going to add any contacts that I need, internal or external, and then I'm going to save the project. Okay. Test PITROW saved. Would you like to create a ticket for this project? This is where One Call comes in. This is where the design project comes in. This is where it benefits you, and you are complying with Act 287 as amended, which again PUC looks at and enforces. So to comply with the Act, you should be placing final design tickets that I mentioned. So this actually allows you to create the final design ticket. Okay, you click yes, I want to create the ticket. So now you are creating your project for planning, and you're saying, I'm going to plan this in the future. This is something that we think we're going to do. And I mentioned think because a question that I always get is this set in stone? If I put this in the system, is this something that I have to do? It's not. It's not. We'd like you to. We'd like you to plan it and utilize the system and hopefully do the project that you're planning on doing. But one thing that showed us with this whole pandemic thing is budgets get disrupted. Things get changed. Money gets moved around. Especially now more than ever, money's utilized for different reasons and different things. If something does fall through, this isn't an obligation that you do the project. We just ask that you go in and complete it or get it off the list. That's all. But you should plan it anyways. If there's an inkling that you might do it, there's a sense that, hey, we think we might do this project, put it in there and see if somebody else is working in that area as well. So then, like I said, I'm entering the design ticket at this time. So it'll auto-populate the streets that it thinks we're working on. Let me zoom in here a little better. Like I said, this is a test view, so it's not going to have as accurate stuff. So it picked up Thornwood Drive, and we know Logan Road is actually the work site. So you want to check that because we're going to change it to Logan Road. Any location information you want to add there, your paving, the method of excavation, let's say we're milling, equipment type, miller, paver, things like that, working in the street. It'll have your excavation, and it'll have your contact information, the work's being done for information, who you're doing the work for, any job numbers, any PennDOT permit numbers, and any remarks you want to add. Then we can create the ticket. It'll give you a temporary reference number for your serial number. The serial number will be emailed to you. So you have that, and my ticket has been created. My project is created in the Coordinate PA. Really simple stuff. I wanted to keep it simple for you guys, but the basic of it is now I have a project in here that I can share with everybody that has access to Coordinate PA. Now I'm saying, hey, so-and-so, I'm doing a project on Logan Road at this time. Do you have anything going on in the future? Do you have anything going on now that we should know about? Let's get in touch. Let's reach out to each other and do that. Now, because I placed the ticket goes out, the design ticket goes out to all the facility owners, alerting them that there's something going on Logan Road as well. So it alerts them that something is in Coordinate PA, that it's on Logan Road, and there's a project coming whenever you decide to put that project in. Here's the project information. Here's the phases. What are the phases? Well, if you wanted to break this down into 3 phases of a project, you can go in and create a phase. Add a phase, draw it out. Add a phase, draw it out, and say we're going to do this into phases. Now, here's the whole project. Let's break this up. Communications. Because I placed a ticket, it'll have all of the facility owners right here for you, or any communications or contacts that you've added to this list. It doesn't show it now because, like I said, I'm in a test view and I don't want to place a real ticket. But if I did, it'll show you the actual facility owner's information. And you can say, hey guys, we're going to have a meeting here. Or, hey guys, we're going to be doing the start of this project at this point in time. What any changes? Hey, we talked about this. Add the recipients to that. Add who you want to send it to and add a comment. Upload files. You can upload files to this as well. This is the first application and only application right now that we provide you the opportunity to add files of your own to a ticket. Okay, you can't call in a notification through our call center and add a file. You can't do it through web ticket entry, the basic view. Coordinate PA is the only place you're allowed to add a file to the actual application. Design files, contact lists, meeting notes, all that should be uploaded and added to the project itself. Any communication, any comments, and anything like that from yourself or others would be right there. My project is now showing up there. I click search as I move the map. I have nothing in there. We saw it before, but if something was in there and overlapping, it would show you, and it would actually show in the bottom left corner of the screen, it would actually show you an exclamation point to tell you, hey, there's an opportunity here. Project opportunities in green would show a green exclamation point for opportunity to say, hey, there's an opportunity here for collaboration or coordination because you have an overlapping job.
Okay.
So to start back from the beginning, quick overview is, hey, basic information, one call center, we're here for you. We're at full speed during the coronavirus. We're here, obviously, taking notifications. Please place the notifications for the basic information, basic stuff. You have larger projects, you have design information, you have planning of projects. Try to use Coordinate PA. It's going to be more efficient for you. You can pinpoint your location. You can tell us where you're working. You can plan it, and hopefully somebody else that's working in that area can work with you and get a contact information from you and work with you to say, hey, why don't we work together on this project? Too many times we have projects that are overlapping and they end up in the way or destroying the other project that was already done or wasting the money. Let's save money. Let's save the opportunity, save the time and effort, and actually enter our tickets here while complying to the law, which you're required to place the design ticket to begin with. So if there's any drawing or anything attached to your project, even if it's on a napkin, you're drawing out, planning a project, you should be placing a final design notification. That's why we think that 4% is pretty low, because people just weren't doing it. It is rising. It is on the rise. I think it's about 5-6% now, which is great because people are utilizing this tool. But it kills two birds with one stone. It gives you an opportunity to plan and coordinate it, and it gives you an opportunity to place a design ticket. Once that's all said and done, you can pass this information over to your excavator, add them as a contact, your contractor, your excavator. You can add them as a contact, give them rights to the ticket, and they can enter their complex project information under the umbrella of this whole project. Now they're entering their pre-construction meeting, their project, and their dig tickets right under this application as well. And I'm not going to dive into that because it's some of the same stuff, but they're actually entering a live dig ticket, which is a 10-day ticket instead of a 3-day. So they can plan, have a meeting, lay it out on the table. This is what we're doing, guys. When can you get out? Actually, we locate the facilities ahead of us, and we can do this project as a whole instead of breaking it up into pieces. Ronnie, I think that's a basic overview of one call, where we're at today, how we're utilizing technology, how we're offering. Like I said, this isn't something that is an extra charge for you or something you have to download a software. This is on pa1call.org for you to use. You have a username and password attached. But that's really where we're directing, and we're trying to utilize, especially in a pandemic where you don't really need to meet or can't meet in person necessarily. You can use an application like this to help you plan projects and things like that and see what's coming down the road in your area.
Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask?
One thing we are seeing while you're generating your questions is we are seeing major utilities using this a lot. We want to see your municipal members use it a lot. We know municipalities have a strict budget. We know they have a strict budget when they're doing roadways and repavements and sewers and things like that and projects. We want them to, utilize that. Right-of-ways can utilize that, and who's in your right, monitor that. Who's working in an area where you should be notified, things like that can monitor this too. A lot of things I hear is, well, we don't have the money. Well, we squash that because this is free. We don't have the manpower. That's okay. That's okay. You have trainers like myself and 11 others and 10 others in the state of Pennsylvania that can get on a conference call with you just like this and train your people for you during this time. So That's perfectly okay as well. We can train your people one-on-one, as a group, whatever you want to do.
I had a couple of questions. We haven't got anything in the chat, but what is the responsibility of the other utilities to respond to a design ticket? Because in my experience, a lot of times they just ignore those tickets.
Very, very good question, Tony. Very good question. So the responsibility of a design ticket for those who are receiving the ticket, they are required to send accurate maps or plans. Okay, they're required to do that. They're not required to field mark unless they don't have maps or plans. They're required to send you what they have. Okay, so they're required to send what they have, and that's the requirement. Now, you mentioned that those who just ignore it, right? And that's one of the reasons why the designers stopped placing design tickets in the first place, because they'd rather get field marks because you're not getting the real maps that you need. That's against the law. And as of 2018, I mentioned the PUC took over enforcement. That is their highest penalty right now in the one-call system. So for those facility owners who are not responding to that ticket, they need to be reported via AVR or alleged violation report through our website. It's under the enforcement tab. You do need to report them to the PUC. It's an easy penalty for the PUC because all they do is look at did not respond to the one-call system on the response list that we talked about, and they send them $1,000 fine. And that seems to change attitudes quickly. They're usually calling me and say, Marcos, why'd you get that? Why'd I get this fine? Well, did you respond to the ticket? No. Pennsylvania is a positive response state. That means you have to respond to every single ticket you receive, no matter the type. So it is an issue still, Johnny, that people don't respond to design tickets, and we're aware of that. But those people do need to be reported to the PUC. I always tell people if you hesitate to report them, if you think you might want to have a conversation or help educate them, because sometimes it is an educational thing. A lot of times it is they don't understand what their responsibility is. Call me. I'll be happy to talk to them first and say, hey, listen, there's a concern. You're not responding to these tickets. You're probably going to end up getting a penalty here very soon because somebody's going to report you that you didn't respond to their ticket. What should you do on the back end? Well, you should re-notify that company, start a paper trail, and hey, this company didn't respond. So-and-so didn't respond. Hey, I'm going to call in and re-notify them. Maybe it slipped through the cracks. It happens. But a re-notify does help. Say, I notified them once. Now I notify them twice, even 3 times to try to get the paperwork over to them, and it just didn't work. So, call myself, call your local liaisons if you're not in this area, not working in this area, but you can always call me, and I'll be happy to educate somebody who's not responding to tickets. Because it really doesn't benefit you or them when it comes to that letter in the mail to say they owe the PUC $1,000 for simply sending you a plan.
Would the people that are required to respond, as far as utilities go, does that include like your conventional oil and gas wells that have been in the ground since the 1800s, and most of their stuff laying above the ground, and or are they exempt from certain?
There's some exemptions. There's some exemptions. We act under the real broad definition of the one-call system when it says if you own or operate a facility, you are required to be a member. That being said, PennDOT is not a member of the one-call system. They do utilize the one-call system, but they don't receive notifications. So if you're in an area where they're prominent, you do need to contact them directly. Now we're working with them to get them involved more and more every day, which is great, and they've been very enthusiastic, but they don't necessarily receive tickets, a group like that. So they are exempt at this time. There are some oil and gas class 1 gathering and things like that that are exempt as well. We tell everybody, if a gathering or oil and gas or something like that company would ask me if they need to be a member, I'd say yes every time. Because there's no other way you can protect your facilities than get a notification to say you're not constantly monitoring your line. Even though people think they are, they're not constantly monitoring the line. We are. They can map out where their facilities are. They don't have to get a notification for everything in the world. They can go in our system and actually map out where their facilities are, and they'll receive a ticket based on where they mapped. So it's beneficial for them. Like I said, there are some exemptions, but anybody that would come to me and say, do I need to be a member? I have an underground facility. Yes.
Now, we were talking before we started the call, we were talking about other states not being equal or the same.
Yeah, there's we were talking before the call, there's a broad spectrum of one calls and their requirements. Okay. And I'm not going to, necessarily name any names, but I mentioned we have the most membership. There's still states that have voluntary membership. They don't have a PUC enforcement. They don't have any enforcement. There's states that are saying, hey, become a member to protect your facilities. You don't have to, but we think you should. It really is to that extreme over to ours, which you are mandatory membership. If you own or operate a facility that's underground at all, if your line is not totally above ground, if it goes underground at all, you should be a member of the one-call system. There's, 811 is prominent around the world. We work with Australia, Canada, things like that. It's everywhere. The numbers may change because it's a different country, but it's everywhere. But it really is a broad. There's states that handle 6 one-call centers in their state, but they're actually handling. Texas might handle somebody else's another state's one-call system, but you're calling for that state, but you're actually calling somebody in Texas. There's different situations. Ours happens to be hometown, West Mifflin here, for the whole state of Pennsylvania, and we have a good enforcement agency, and we are enforcing this law, and we're here as for an education and a service to those people. But other states just don't all have that process. We do recommend that if you're working in other states, always call 811. If you do call 811 across state lines, 811 number should take you to that local state call center. So you don't have to call a special number or anything like that. It should ping off the closest tower to get you where you need to be. But it really is a broad spectrum of requirements when you start crossing state lines.
Yeah. Hey, this is Joe Curry. I've got a quick question. So I'm in Southern California, and I don't use the one dig system here, or dig alert they call it, is like I used to. I mean, I used to actually make the calls and do the investigation myself. And I was looking back because I thought that was a little odd, because the things you were saying about calling for design were a little foreign to me. I just looked up on their website, and they absolutely say out loud that they don't handle any well, they call it pre-planning or design stage planning. So that's different than what you're requesting. You are encouraging people to call and get those markouts for design stage, correct?
Absolutely. It actually is a requirement in the law. If you have two things, if you have drawn a plan, if you have a plan for a project and you've drawn it out, you're required by law to place a design ticket.
Is that state law?
That's state law.
State law, okay. Yeah, I've always. I guess I've lived in Southern California for about 22 years, so I've been involved with it for a long time, and I thought, it must have changed, and I just looked it up on their website, and sure enough, it hasn't. It does actually offer that you can pay somebody to do that to do that work for you if you want, and apparently they've got some kind of short list of names here, but. I thought that was quite odd. I've always thought that was you mentioned 1 million tickets. That's astronomical. I had no idea. And 7 tickets a day. That's shocking. I can't imagine. Those guys must be working long days. That's not a quick job to do. But anyway, that's fascinating. I appreciate your presentation. I think it's quite enlightening that it's so different. I assumed it was all the same across the states.
Yeah, it's very, very different. Exactly. That's a good example. Like they're not requiring designers to say, hey, hire a designer. They're going to map it for you. They'll do it for you. Yeah. We require that they do that. We also require at a $400,000 level, if your project costs over $400,000 or more, you're required to do a certain level of subsurface utility engineering as well. So you're required to process that data as well on a design plan as well. So do you have to expose the facilities before you even get to construction? If your project goes to $400,000 or more, that's also in our law as well. So it is very different, even from state to state. Like I said, even though they hire designers to do that work, like you said, we're still requiring those designer groups to enter that information. Yes.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I know the other thing, just looking at this new planning map, if you have like a heavy haul route and all of a sudden there's paving in the middle of it, you could be aware that you need to make some adjustments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the idea for this is, to expand as we go. This is a newer program we have. Last few years, we've really expanded this, but we expand as we go. Do we have people entering? Do we have municipalities entering moratoriums for block parties? Do we have, blocking streets off for their events? Do we have it in here as well? The sky's the limit when something like this, when people are really utilizing it. Now, we're seeing a large influx of cases of jobs in the coordinate PA system in 2020 now, rather than we had in the last few years, which is great. People are really starting to use it now. And the only way this works is if people use it. So, we can implement things left and right. We talked about implementing designs and things like that. We can implement things left and right, but if you're not using the application, it doesn't work. If nobody goes in and if somebody's doing a job on Logan Road, like after I just placed one, but didn't go in and check that out, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Then they're going to go in, they're going to do the same thing, the same habits that we had before. I'm going to pave Logan Road, and 3 months, 6 months, a year later, somebody's going to come in and tear it up because they didn't look at my plan in the first place. So you have to utilize it. You have to monitor it, like you said, and expansion is definitely there. We're talking about adding permitting and things like that for those municipalities to use in this system as well. So it's coming. It's a process. It's a software that we own. It's not something that I personally use because it's for you. It's for the group. So if you see something that you need or want, it's something that we've built. So you have to let us know that as well. We can add it in our future releases. That's the cool thing about the software is you all built this, not us. We own it. We build it based on your opinions and your needs in the field. All the stakeholders did. So it's directed towards that group.
All right. Does anybody else have any other questions that they'd like to ask? Okay. Well, we appreciate your time today. I know it's part of your job, Marcos, but we do appreciate it. As a land agent, I have used the lack of a one call being refreshed enough time to do proper landowner notification on the land side. So that's a little thing you can use one call for if you're on a project that you have to do notification. It's a nice little, they can argue with the land guy, but they can't argue with not doing a one call.
That's right. That's right. I want to thank everybody for having me today. I want to thank you, Johnny, for having me today. I join you guys all the time, listening to everybody else's presentations, and I can't wait for the next ones. But thank you for having me. If there are any questions, reach out. That's what I do. My job is to make sure that you're digging safely and planning correctly and things like that. So please don't hesitate to call.
All right. Well, we greatly appreciate it. We'll let everybody know. We'll get the video edited down. We'll put it up on YouTube and send out the link. We'll share a list of everybody that was in attendance today based off the main sign-in. If you don't want your cell phone number or your work number shared or your email, whatever that may be case, please drop me an email and let me know. Our next August event will be a virtual event as well. That'll be on renewables. So we're looking forward to that. We are starting to plan 2021 speakers and topics. So if you have something that you would like us to get a speaker on, or you would like to speak next year, please let us know. And also, if you're a member of the RWA and you're in the Chapter 88, Provisional Chapter 88 roster, we actually this morning just announced our first class that we're going to be hosting, an IRWA Course 200, which is Principles in Real Estate Acquisition and Negotiation. So that class is now open to register for September, I think, 17th and 18th. First 4 people to register for that. That's in our roster. will win or receive a $50 Visa gift card. We've done a little scholarship program for the executive committee to encourage people to start taking classes in the RWA to get their accreditation. And as always, if you guys have suggestions, please let myself and the board know, and we will act on that. So I'd like to thank everybody for taking their time for their lunch. Can't beat a cheaper lunch than a virtual lunch. So if anybody else has anything else to say, speak up now, or we'll see everybody next month.
Thanks for putting it together.
Not a problem. All right.
Thanks, Connie.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Johnny. Thanks, Marcos.